When it comes to aging well, some of the most common nuts in the pantry might be doing more harm than good. 3. Cashews, the hidden sugar spike. Cashews are creamy, a little sweet, and feel like one of those guilt-free indulgences. But if you're over 55, they may not be doing you any favors. One of the biggest issues? Cashews are surprisingly high in carbs, around 9 grams per ounce. That can spell trouble for nearly half of older adults managing prediabetes or diabetes, as it can trigger quick blood sugar spikes. And because they're marketed as healthy, it's easy to overlook the risks. There's also something called oxalates in cashews, which bind to calcium in your gut. That can block calcium absorption, and that's not great when bones naturally get more fragile with age. Let's not forget the texture. That smooth, satisfying crunch also makes them a top choking risk for anyone with swallowing issues. Even more concerning, raw cashews contain urushiol, the same irritant found in poison ivy. It's usually removed during processing, but the process often uses high heat, which damages the healthy fats and reduces their nutrition. Many store-bought cashews are also roasted in oil and loaded with salt, pushing up sodium levels, something seniors definitely want to watch. And if you're trying to manage weight, cashews are dangerously snackable. Their creamy feel makes it easy to overeat, especially since they're low in fiber and not super filling. That creamy texture also shows up in trendy cashew-based cheeses and butters, which often come packed with added oils and fillers. Cashews also contain enzyme inhibitors and anti-nutrients that can interfere with how your body absorbs minerals like magnesium and zinc, both essential for nerve health, sleep, and immunity. They spoil fast too, especially when exposed to light or air, and rancid nuts can lead to inflammation and oxidative stress. So, while they're not all bad, cashews are definitely a moderation nut. If they're your go-to, try mixing them with fiber-rich options like almonds or hazelnuts. You'll get the crunch without the sneaky downsides. 2. Macadamia nuts, the caloric bomb. Macadamia nuts feel rich, buttery, and indulgent, almost like the dessert of the nut world. But if you're over 55, that smooth luxury might be working against you more than you think. These nuts are actually the most calorie-dense out there, packing around 200 calories per ounce. That's a big deal when metabolism naturally slows with age. It doesn't take much to tip the scale, literally. They're also loaded with saturated fat. A little isn't a problem, but for folks managing cholesterol, too much can push LDL levels in the wrong direction. And if you've got silent gallstones, which many older adults do, the high fat load in macadamias might be just enough to trigger painful flare-ups. Bite into one the wrong way, and there's also the risk to dental work, like crowns or implants. They're hard, and a cracked tooth is no small inconvenience. Macadamias also tend to be lower in fiber and protein than other nuts, which means they're not doing much for digestion or muscle support, both important in later years. They're easy to overeat, and those creamy, satisfying bites can quietly add hundreds of calories in just a few handfuls. And let's talk about quality. Cheaper macadamias often go rancid quickly, especially when stored improperly. Rancid oils create inflammation and oxidative stress, two major drivers of aging. Even macadamia milk and oil, which seem like trendy health swaps, are often processed with additives that may not sit well with more sensitive systems. At the end of the day, macadamias aren't bad, but they're definitely a nut to treat more like an occasional treat than a daily staple. Looking for a safer crunch? Pistachios or almonds offer all the flavor, with fewer risks. Number 1. Pine nuts, the medication disruptor. Small and unassuming, pine nuts seem like a harmless sprinkle on salads or pasta. But for anyone over 55, especially those taking daily medications, this is one nut that requires serious caution. Here's the shocker. Pine nuts contain compounds that may interfere with more than 60% of common prescription medications. That includes blood pressure meds, statins, and antidepressants. The result? These tiny nuts could reduce a medication's effectiveness or cause unpredictable side effects. Even more bizarre, pine nuts are associated with something called pine mouth syndrome. It causes a metallic, bitter taste that can last days or even weeks, and it's no small annoyance. For seniors, it often leads to appetite loss and unintentional weight loss, both serious concerns when trying to maintain healthy nutrition. They're also high in polyunsaturated fats, which oxidize quickly. That's bad news because oxidized fats create inflammation, worsening conditions like arthritis and heart disease, both already prevalent in older populations. And here's something not often discussed. Pine nuts' slippery, tiny shape makes them a choking risk, especially for seniors with dry mouth or reduced saliva flow, common side effects of many medications. One more thing, pine nuts contain enzyme inhibitors, which interfere with protein digestion, not ideal when protein absorption already declines with age. While pine nuts may seem trendy and upscale, their unique chemical profile can actually make them a nutritional wild card for older adults. Many people don't realize that pine nuts come from several different species of pine trees, and the variety used can impact how the body reacts, especially when it comes to digestion and taste disturbances. The onset of pine mouth syndrome is unpredictable. Some people experience it after just a small handful, while others develop symptoms several days after eating them, making it hard to trace the cause. For anyone already dealing with changes in taste or reduced appetite due to age or medication, pine mouth can quickly lead to skipped meals and undernutrition. And it's not just the taste. That metallic after effect can actually change how other foods are perceived. Some studies suggest pine nuts may disrupt bile production in sensitive individuals, which can affect fat digestion and lead to bloating, nausea, or discomfort after meals. Because they're often eaten raw or lightly toasted, pine nuts may also carry a higher risk of microbial contamination if not stored or handled properly. Unlike more robust nuts like almonds or pistachios, pine nuts have a short shelf life and can spoil quickly, especially in warm or humid environments. Spoiled pine nuts can develop rancid oils that not only taste bad but may contribute to oxidative stress in the body, something older adults are already more vulnerable to. For seniors dealing with inflammatory conditions like arthritis, regularly eating rancid or oxidized fats can increase stiffness, swelling, and discomfort in joints. They also contain significant amounts of omega-6 fatty acids, and when not balanced with omega-3s, this can tilt the body toward a more inflammatory state. This imbalance can aggravate existing cardiovascular issues or contribute to general fatigue and brain fog, symptoms that are often dismissed as normal aging. When blended into pesto, pine nuts are usually mixed with oils, cheeses, and sometimes salt, turning a small spoonful into a surprisingly dense, high-fat bite. For older adults on low-sodium or low-fat diets, it's easy to unknowingly consume more than they should just by adding pesto to a sandwich or pasta. Pine nuts also lack fiber, which means they do little to help with digestion or keep you feeling full, so it's easy to overeat without realizing it. Because pine nuts can be expensive, many cheaper options are made from mixed seeds or older stock, which means lower quality and less consistent results. For older adults who are managing medications or specific dietary needs, pine nuts carry more risks than benefits and should really be eaten in moderation. If you're used to sprinkling pine nuts on your meals, try switching to sliced almonds or pumpkin seeds. They give you that same crunch, without the risks. Another issue that's not often discussed is that pine nuts can trigger mild allergic reactions in some people, even if they don't have a full-on nut allergy. These reactions might include digestive upset, itching, or skin rashes, which can be especially uncomfortable for seniors with thinning skin or weakened immune systems. The small size of pine nuts makes it tricky to keep track of portions. A tiny sprinkle can quickly become a calorie-heavy topping. This lack of awareness can be a problem for older adults who are trying to manage their weight or keep track of what they're eating. For individuals managing gallbladder issues, the high oil content in pine nuts may trigger symptoms or discomfort. Some imported pine nuts, particularly cheaper ones, have been linked to greater instances of pine mouth syndrome, possibly due to differences in species or storage methods. These lower-grade varieties are often sold in bulk bins or bargain packages, where freshness is harder to verify. Without proper refrigeration or sealed packaging, pine nuts can spoil quickly, even before reaching your kitchen. Seniors who live alone or shop infrequently may not realize the nuts have turned until they experience unpleasant side effects. Unlike nuts with hard shells that offer protection, pine nuts are exposed and fragile, making them highly sensitive to light, heat, and air. And while pesto is a delicious way to enjoy them, it can also mask the taste of spoilage, meaning you may consume rancid oils without realizing it. Lastly, for older adults aiming for nutrient-dense choices, there are simply better options. Nuts that offer more protein, fiber, and balanced fats without the baggage that pine nuts bring to the table. 3. Pistachios, the blood pressure regulator. Soft, flavorful, and fun to eat, pistachios are more than a colorful snack. For anyone 55 and up, they can act like a natural blood pressure pill. Here's why. Pistachios have one of the best potassium to sodium ratios among all nuts. Just 1 ounce gives about 285 milligrams of potassium while staying naturally low in sodium. That's critical because as we age, kidneys retain more sodium, which raises blood pressure. Pistachios help balance that out naturally. Beyond the heart, pistachios are a vision protective powerhouse. They contain lutein and zeaxanthin, carotenoids that directly support the macula, the area of the eye responsible for central vision. If the goal is to slow age-related vision loss, pistachios could be a simple way to help. And because you have to crack them open, pistachios promote mindful eating, slowing down the snack pace, which can reduce calorie intake without anyone even noticing. And here's a bonus. The act of shelling pistachios engages fine motor skills, which is helpful in keeping hand coordination sharp as we age. Aim for around 49 pistachios a day and choose unsalted or lightly salted versions. With about 3 grams of fiber per serving, they also support blood sugar balance, a major win for older adults with insulin concerns. Unlike heavily roasted or oiled nuts, dry roasted pistachios retain much of their antioxidant content while keeping added fats to a minimum. Their vibrant green and purple hues are a visual cue of high phytochemical content. These compounds actively combat oxidative stress throughout the body. Pistachios also contain plant sterols, which are known to help lower LDL cholesterol, a crucial benefit for anyone managing heart health. For those dealing with mild anemia or fatigue, pistachios even offer a modest amount of iron, which supports oxygen transport and energy production. They have a relatively low calorie density for their satisfying crunch, which helps with appetite control. Research shows that people who snack on pistachios feel fuller for longer, which can reduce overall food intake across the day. Seniors with digestive sensitivities often tolerate pistachios better than other harder, fattier nuts. They're also less likely to cause bloating or discomfort due to their fiber and natural enzyme content. For those watching their weight, the time it takes to shell each pistachio naturally slows down snacking, giving the brain time to register fullness. When stored properly, pistachios have a long shelf life, making them a reliable pantry staple that won't lose potency too quickly. Best of all, they're incredibly versatile, perfect in sweet or savory dishes, or simply on their own as a satisfying, heart-healthy snack. Pistachios also provide a small but meaningful amount of B6, a vitamin that supports nerve function and helps regulate mood, both of which can shift with age. The magnesium in pistachios plays a role in calming the nervous system, promoting better sleep, and reducing nighttime muscle cramps. They're naturally cholesterol-free and low in saturated fat, which makes them ideal for heart-conscious diets. Compared to many nuts, pistachios are one of the few that contain all 9 essential amino acids in small amounts, offering a complete plant protein profile when paired with other foods. Their prebiotic fiber also supports a healthy gut microbiome, which plays an increasingly recognized role in everything from immune strength to brain health. Pistachios have been shown to support endothelial function, the health of blood vessel linings, which is vital for maintaining circulation and reducing stroke risk. The gentle crunch they offer can also encourage chewing and saliva production, both of which tend to decrease with age and are important for proper digestion. Their subtle sweetness makes them a good snack for those reducing added sugars, helping to satisfy cravings without the crash. Because they're lower in fat than many other nuts, pistachios provide sustained energy without feeling heavy. For anyone dealing with age-related muscle loss, the protein and nutrient content in pistachios can contribute to better muscle maintenance. Roasted pistachios without salt make a convenient snack that aligns with DASH and Mediterranean-style diets often recommended for seniors. And because they're widely available and relatively affordable, they're one of the easiest superfoods to keep on hand for daily use. 2. Walnuts, the brain-boosting nut. If one nut looks like a brain, it's no coincidence it also supports one. Walnuts are the ultimate brain food, especially important after age 55 when cognitive function starts to naturally decline. What makes them stand out is their high content of ALA, alpha-linolenic acid, a plant-based omega-3 fatty acid. Omega-3s are essential for brain cell structure and signaling, and most people don't get enough from their diet. In one clinical trial, seniors who consumed just 1.5 ounces of walnuts daily saw real improvements in processing speed and memory. But it gets better. Walnuts contain polyphenols, antioxidant compounds that cross the blood-brain barrier, targeting inflammation directly in the brain. That kind of direct neuroprotection may help slow the onset of Alzheimer's or other forms of dementia. They also naturally contain melatonin, which declines with age. Just a handful of walnuts in the evening may help regulate sleep cycles, a game changer for older adults struggling with insomnia. Add in arginine, an amino acid that helps relax blood vessels, and you've got a nut that supports both brain and cardiovascular health. To get the best from walnuts, aim for 7 to 9 halves per day and store them in the fridge to keep their fragile oils fresh. Walnuts can do a lot more than just boost brain health. They may even help with long-term emotional wellness. In fact, studies have linked walnut consumption to lower rates of depression in older adults. Thanks to their magnesium and vitamin B6, they help with mood and stress, two things that can shift a lot with age. They're great for keeping the mind sharp and cutting through that brain fog that tends to creep in over time. Walnuts also have L-glutathione, special compounds that your gut turns into urolithins, little inflammation fighters that protect energy and brain function at the cellular level. Got blood sugar swings? Walnuts can help stabilize insulin sensitivity, which is a win for memory and focus. Their antioxidants work hard to fight oxidative stress, a key player in cognitive decline. And if the skin tastes slightly bitter, good. That's where some of the most powerful nutrients live. Walnuts also support good circulation, which helps get nutrients where they're needed, especially to the brain. Plus, their healthy fats help you absorb vitamins like E, which supports aging brains. If joints are aching, those same anti-inflammatory benefits can ease discomfort too. They even support digestion thanks to prebiotic fiber, and as we now know, a healthier gut means a sharper brain. All in all, adding walnuts to your daily routine is a small change that can pay off in some really big ways. Number 1. Brazil nuts, the thyroid healer. Sometimes the smallest changes make the biggest difference, and Brazil nuts might just be the most powerful one nut a day habit for older adults. That's because they're the richest natural source of selenium, a mineral critical for thyroid health. Just one Brazil nut delivers over 130% of the daily recommended selenium. And since 1 in 5 adults over 65 has some form of thyroid dysfunction, that's a big deal. A healthy thyroid means better energy, metabolism, mood, and hormonal balance, all of which become harder to maintain with age. Brazil nuts also help maintain the myelin sheath, the protective layer around nerve fibers. That translates to faster reflexes, sharper coordination, and better nerve signal transmission. But there's a catch. Too many Brazil nuts can cause selenium toxicity. The sweet spot is just 1 to 2 per day. That's all it takes to reap the benefits. Anything more can backfire. Their buttery texture makes them easy to eat slowly and satisfyingly, which is perfect for portion control. And when stored in the fridge, especially in their shells, they stay fresh longer and maintain their delicate oils. Emerging research even suggests that antioxidants in Brazil nuts may help protect telomeres, the end caps of DNA strands, potentially slowing the biological aging process itself. Brazil nuts also pack compounds that help boost glutathione. That's the antioxidant your body uses to clean out toxins and fight off free radicals. The thing is, glutathione levels drop as we age, and Brazil nuts can really help keep those levels up. They're loaded with good-for-you unsaturated fats, which play a big role in keeping cholesterol in check, helping bump up the good kind, HDL, and lower the bad kind, LDL. Brazil nuts also bring a solid dose of magnesium to the table, and that mineral is involved in over 300 processes in the body, especially when it comes to nerves and muscles. Their rich, healthy fats also help your body soak up fat-soluble vitamins like A, D, E, and K, all super important for strong bones and a solid immune system as the years go by. On top of that, they've got small amounts of zinc and phosphorus, which quietly support your immune health and bone structure. Even though they're energy-dense, Brazil nuts are really satisfying. A couple of them can help curb appetite and reduce grazing throughout the day. Thanks to their creamy texture and deep flavor, many people find just 1 or 2 nuts is all it takes to feel full, which is great for anyone keeping an eye on portion sizes. They're also easier on the stomach than some other nuts, making them a smart pick for older adults who deal with digestive sensitivities. Surprisingly, studies have even hinted that Brazil nuts might help lift mood and ease anxiety, possibly because of how selenium supports brain chemistry. That same selenium also plays a role in hormone regulation, not just for the thyroid, but more broadly throughout the body. Some early research has even connected Brazil nuts to improved heart rate variability, which is a pretty strong marker for cardiovascular and nervous system health. If inflammation or autoimmune issues are a concern, the combo of selenium and antioxidants in these nuts might help calm things down. Their low carb count also makes them perfect for people managing blood sugar or following a low carb lifestyle. Regularly eating just 1 or 2 may also help improve skin elasticity and slow down oxidative damage to the skin. Another bonus, they're easy to use. If you're looking for a low-effort way to boost your nutrition, Brazil nuts prove that even one little nut can have a big impact. They also contain boron, a mineral that helps support bones and brain health as we get older. Their naturally low sugar level makes them ideal for keeping blood sugar stable, especially for those watching insulin levels. And for older adults focused on preserving muscle, Brazil nuts offer amino acids that support recovery and strength. Their calorie density is actually useful for those dealing with unintentional weight loss or low appetite, a common issue later in life. Unlike packaged snacks, they deliver clean, real food energy without anything artificial. Chewing them also boosts saliva, which is great for digestion and helpful for dry mouth, another age-related issue. Plus, their anti-inflammatory compounds may help keep joints limber and reduce morning stiffness, making daily movement a little easier. For women post-menopause, the mix of selenium and fats may support hormone balance and help maintain bone strength. They even offer some natural copper, which helps form collagen and keep blood vessels healthy. With all of that, Brazil nuts really earn their place as a powerful little addition to a daily wellness routine. Small, yes, but mighty. Enjoyed this breakdown? Don't forget to like this video, subscribe for more science-backed tips on healthy aging,